In the attitude of Joe, let's get to work.
We're nerdazons.
Brand new year.
Woo!
I can't
Happy
believe-
New Year.
Happy New Year. Yes. Even though by the time you listen to it, it'll be a month into the year.
Low. So how was your Christmas, New Year and all that jazz?
Well, I spent it finishing off my studies. Yay.
Woo! And you passed. Woo!
Yay, I know I got the results this week, so I'm so glad that is done because I can do a lot more fun stuff now.
Yeah.
And I know you'll be happy that I can help out a little bit
Yes.
more.
Yeah, my New Year's was just, whatever.
Another day.
Another day. Went and saw, obviously, the new Little Women, which we're talking about today.
Yes.
I'm so keen.
Yes.
So this month it was my choice.
Yes.
I thought, I might share why I actually chose this, other than, of course, just having a Timothée Chalamet in it.
Of course.
Hashtag obsessed.
Very obsessed.
All right, so I remember reading this book for English at school and I was just captivated by it and I was just like, oh my goodness, Joe was really relatable to me and all that kind of stuff. And then growing up, I watched the movie and I was like, this is such a great movie. And then saw that it was coming out, and as soon as I saw the cast for this new movie.
Yeah, I think they marketed that really well. So they only released one image, I think, last year, and it just had the girls looking out the window.
Yeah.
And when you saw the cast, I think that was enough to be able to entice people to go and see it.
And oh my, what an amazing cast. Like compared to obviously the 1994. I mean, it's been done.
95, I think it was.
No, 94.
Oh, okay. I was a year out.
Yep. So like the cast then was perfect for that time, whereas I think this is perfect for this time.
Yeah, we'll get in.
Yeah. Also, I have to say that when I was watching the new one, all I could think of is the Friends episode where Joey and Rachel swap books. He's reading The Shining and she's reading Little Women, and that
I don't think I saw this episode. Wait, so she's
reading Little Women
oh my
and
God.
he's reading The Shining, and he puts The Shining in the freezer and she's like, what are you doing that for? And he's like, because I don't like, when it gets too hard, I like to put it in the freezer and just put it out of reach. And he's going on about how amazing this book is and she's going on about how amazing the book is. So they swap books and they're at the cafe, and then Joey goes to all the other friends. Oh, isn't it funny when you-know-what finds out that he's got the you-know-what, and like pretty much spoils it for Rachel. And then Rachel just turns around and goes, well, Beth dies. And he's like, are you kidding? And then he's like, no. And then everyone's
I
looking
need
at
to
her.
watch this episode.
And then everyone's looking at her and she's like, no. And then at the end of the episode, Joey comes out and he's like, Beth is really sick. And she goes, do you want me to put the book in the freezer? Yeah.
Aww.
And it's just like so heartbreaking.
Do you know what
but-
I think of? And me and my partner kept thinking of it. It's a Simpsons, like a 10-second skit, and it's like, hey, where's Mo? And then you see him reading to an orphanage and he just closes the books and he's like, and they were no longer little women. Jesus Christ. So I always think of that with Little Women.
That's gold. But yeah, as soon as I said that, I was like, oh my God.
It just
the Friends
reminds you of
episode
it.
I think it's in season 1 or 2. I don't know.
Friends, I was never a hard out
No, neither was
watcher of it. It was just whatever episodes were really on. For me, when it come to Little Women, the only thing I ever really remembered, because I was quite young when it came out, and I think when
Were
I
you
watched
even
it,
born when it was out?
yes, I was. I'm
Okay.
that. Anyway, yes, I was, and it was just a random thing that I think was on. I didn't really take notice of it, but I just remembered the haircut scene. That to me, that was the one thing I really remembered. So I was really
You've
keen.
lost your only beauty.
Yeah, oh my God, what a little bitch. Pardon my language. I can't believe I said that, but what a cow. Like, no, yeah, that was the most memorable, or the only thing I really remembered from it. So I was really keen to actually go back and rewatch it because I never really read this at school. It was not something that I had to do for English. Should we talk about
What it's about?
Yeah, and then we'll talk about the original.
Okay, so it's autobiographical account of her life with the three sisters in Concord, Massachusetts in the 1860s. With her father fighting in the American Civil War, sisters Jo, Meg, Amy, Beth are at home with their mother and a very outspoken woman for the time. The story tells the sisters grow up and they find love and their places in the world.
Yeah, I like that last sentence on that.
Yeah.
places in the world.
Okay, so I hadn't watched the 1994 one in a really long
Yeah.
time,
Yeah.
and I went and watched the new one first, and I got to see
okay.
it. I got to see it quite early at
Yeah,
the
you
movies.
did. It was like December 13th or something, I
Yeah.
think. I
And-
tried to go, but I had plans.
That's all right. Everybody's got a social life. But going back to the original, looking at it, it's very dark.
But I actually think that was a benefit to it because at the end of the day, even with this modern one, you've got to look at that time. It was a terrible time, I think, to have to live in. You know, even if it was set in another country, it wasn't a happy-go-lucky time. It was a very simple time. There was war, there was death. It was hard for women back then, and I think that it was portrayed well in the classic. Like, well,
Yeah.
not really classic. There's like so many remakes.
Oh, there's
of this.
6.
Yeah.
I did my
When I
little-
googled it, I'm like, oh my god, there's so many.
so many.
It's funny that there's only 2 memorable ones though.
Yeah.
This one and the new one.
Yeah, I thought Laurie wasn't as likable in this one.
Oh, so okay, I have to get it off. I know
Yeah.
we talked about this.
Yeah.
I mean, I have to get it off my chest. That sounded bad. So I have to get it off. Okay, so we had a little chat about this before we started recording. And Laurie, I had such a hate to him in this one. Christian Bale's character, just especially when he was drunk, and he was so unlikable. It just makes me want to shake her and think, how can you still go to somebody like that? You can obviously see when they first interacted, when he was drunk, that he still had a thing for Jo, you know, and he can't just flip around like a switch in his head, and she still got with him, and he seemed like such a nasty person to be with.
I think, yeah, he was really unlikable in this one.
Yeah.
I mean, I had a bit of a crush on him growing up, and especially in this movie, I was like, oh my God, Christian Bale.
Oh,
But-
yeah. No.
and like, okay, one thing that really annoyed me now that I rewatched it again is with Kirsten Dunst that when it was 4 years, they automatically just changed their characters.
that was one of my points on
and
this.
I was like, who are you?
It wasn't done well.
No.
But I can see why they did it. They needed to show a little girl is now grown up, right? But Kirsten Dunst, it was in the height of her career, and she was a very mature young lady. Like, when you look at her in Interview with the Vampire,
Great movie.
I love that movie. And for her to be able to portray a woman's mind for her age, I think if they dressed her up a little bit differently, they could have made it work. But they did it. It was too big an age gap.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. It's too much of an age gap because I would have just been like, ooh, cringy seeing her make out with.
100%.
Yeah.
I agree. She was too young for that.
Yeah.
But they didn't do the right fit, which leads me to my other point.
Yeah.
I actually feel, and again, I love him. Poor choice for this film, Gabriel Byrne. That was, and I understand that you know what? Age isn't a thing, but I feel like for this film, they just grabbed an actor who was good in the height of their career. And he was big in like the early 90s. So I can see why they just threw him in, but I didn't believe the chemistry with them. Like,
No.
I don't think he was a good fit, but his character, I liked that it was explored more. That was a point that really gave me down points for the next one,
That really just,
which we'll talk later.
yeah, that made me a bit cringy. I was like, he's old enough to be her father.
Yeah.
Like, and then I like the ending of the second one versus the ending of this one.
Oh, that was a point that I hated.
There's a few theories going on with that one.
Okay, we'll
But-
talk about that when we
yeah,
get to the next one,
okay.
because I got points to say on that.
Okay. No, I'm like, can we move to the next one? No.
Yeah, I do want to talk about it. But there was one other thing. So most of my points is it's a real comparison between the two. Like I was saying to Steph before we recorded, I actually feel this is par on par. So I don't hate one more than the other, and I don't like one more than the other, because the points that I disliked about the 1995 was done well in the second one, but there were points in the 1994 that they were done well in the second one, but there are things that were done poorly in the second one that I think that were done better in the first one.
Going back, and I've seen the new one twice now. I'm about to go see it a third time with other
wow.
people. Oh, because I've got like friends that are like, oh, we need to go see it.
Do you
here
go
and
and
here.
see it at events? Is that the cinema you predominantly go to, or Hoyt?
Hoyts now.
Hoyts, please give us a sponsorship. We will go and see these films for you.
Well, also because Hoyts have got the better seats now.
Yeah, I agree.
And-
they do. Because you
and-
can get like recliners for normal price
Yes,
tickets.
but we're getting completely off topic.
Oh, yeah, we are.
So-
We are. Sorry.
So I feel like this one, the characters to me as a whole were unrelatable now. See, I
Do you
think
mean the modern one?
no, the old one. Sorry, we're
old one,
talking about
okay.
the old one. The character, like, there was no chemistry between the characters, and when Beth died, I was just like,
Oh, that's so sad.
really? In the
Yeah.
old one, I didn't feel anything for her. I thought she died a lot earlier than that.
No,
And-
I think she did. But the thing,
because it was 4 years later, and
spoiler alert, I think this
Mm-hmm.
this podcast is actually going to be a bounce between the two. I don't think we're going to be able to go original to the new one
No.
without spoiling it. So I think what
mean, if
made
you-
it seem different is they changed the layout of the second one.
yeah.
I don't know if I'm keen on that. I think maybe I need to see it again to make a judgment.
Which one?
The new one of the layout of it. So it jumped between
The timelines.
the timelines. I personally don't think I like that, especially in the new one. One of the points that I disliked was the professor. They introduced him straight away. They gave him like one scene. Like he was, I feel like that chemistry I love so much because Gabriel Byrne, sure he wasn't the correct actor, but you could really see as a character how much he supported her and like wanted her to strive and be the best that she was. He wanted her to be a good writer. He wanted to give her honest criticism because he believed in her that she could do more. And really they gave him one line of like, I don't like it. And then she stormed off in the new one. And I don't think they did that justice. They didn't build him up enough. Whereas when you watch it in the original and it plays on par and she gets there and you see the little bites of the books and they interact a little bit more, and then you see the support he gives her and the little inklings of like, oh, maybe you could do it this way. And I just feel like it makes you appreciate him as the love interest when he was in it more. Did that make sense?
Yes, but I completely disagree.
Wow.
Like, completely disagree. I was
You think
just
what they did in that, like that one scene, was enough for you to think, yep, he's the love of her life?
no, but I don't think Jo in the new one, I think she was a very independent person, and I like the ending of the new one because you don't know whether or not she does end up with him or not, and that it's
Yeah, see,
and that it's allowing her to be like, hey, I don't need a man to be happy. I don't need
Yeah.
to live by these standards.
Yeah.
The way that society says that I have to live, and that's why I think I
Yeah.
like it more.
Yeah, I can see that. And I do like that they kind of left it all. Is it the book that was ending or did it actually happen? I did like that little mystery to it, but I don't know. I just think sometimes having that person, it doesn't even have to be a love interest, but having that person who believes in you and pushes you in life is really good. And I think that they showed that better in the original. And it's just a good feeling to see that, because sometimes it's hard when you don't have people who believe in what you do.
Yeah.
And to see that he was fully invested. And the one thing that I disliked about the ending of the new one, when you think they get together, is that I hate it was very involved with her family. Like Jo as a character is an independent person, and in the original it was just very intimate, and I feel that's her. She's not very big on the love, and to find a man like that she really likes. And I think it was just more intimate with the two of them in the rain, and not having the family push her and it's like, you need to go and get it now. Yeah, I just don't think I liked that, their involvement in that.
And like Susan Sarandon as the mum, I don't know, she wasn't as mum. I don't know, she didn't give off like a warm lovingness as much as the new one.
She's
but
so gorgeous. I do agree. I got more of that soft vibe from her.
from Laura Dern.
Yeah. But at the same time, I think Susan Sarandon having that little
She's
bit.
amazing.
They're both amazing.
I got to high five Susan Sarandon.
When?
Yeah. Oh my God, when I went to Tropfest a few years ago, she was a judge, and then she walked past and I high-fived her.
That's amazing.
I know.
That's cool.
I know.
Oh, you've seen so many celebrities.
I know. I love them.
Um,
But also, like Aunt March. Aunt March, I know that in the book as well, like she's meant to be such a horrid
I
cow.
love Meryl Streep. She's one of my favorite actresses.
Yeah.
She was so funny to watch.
But Aunt March in the old one, even in the book, she is a harsh, horrible woman. And I think she was portrayed quite well in the 94 one, because you just think,
in both she was portrayed well.
yeah, but like, come on, it's Meryl Streep. She is amazing, and I
my
love her.
favourite.
And I just think she was a smart ass.
Yeah.
And that's what I
it's
liked
good
about
because
it.
you can see that come across in the other characters.
Mm-hmm.
Back to Susan Sarandon, I think with her not being as warm and motherly, I think that's good because it shows a woman who's had to now take leadership of her household while her husband's not there in the 1860s.
Yeah.
To show that she has to be tough for her kids. And I think that comes down across them, especially in Jo as a character, and she sees that and she becomes that independent person too. So I think it's good to see it, because it's always good to see, because they're all actors, but it's good to see how they can all come together and make it really look like they are related, even if it's just by a personality trait.
Yeah. It was good for its time.
I have to say on cinematography though,
Yeah.
even though we know it's the 90s, the cameras weren't that great, but I think that added to it. Like, it really said it that it was in the 1860s. It really gave you that vibe. Obviously, we can see how great it can be with new technology.
Yeah.
I think it did add to it a little bit.
When I was watching the old one, I was just thinking like how dark it was, and like you said before, like that's how it was. But then I kind of got used to it, and I was like, actually, times were dark, times were unhappy.
Exactly.
And that's kind of the mood that it gave off, which
And I think
was
when
quite
you watch
interesting.
it, when she goes to the like hotel or hostel and she's like teaching, you get elements where, especially I think when she talks with the professor, the room's a bit more illuminated, like there's a bit more torches around, and especially around the books and when they're in their conversations, it seems much brighter.
Yeah.
And it just adds to the warmth of them two as a couple. But back to the new one, they don't really explore him much, and it kind of, I don't know, I just think they should have added him in more than what they did.
Yeah, I mean, I do like it. I just really like the new one more.
Oh, I think I like both of them equal. Like I said, I think they're both on par for me, because there are things that I liked about the old one, and then there are things that I liked about the new one.
Yeah. Oh my God, I've got so much to say about the new one.
But I do have one more thing about characters.
Yeah.
I actually disliked, like, I love her. I love Emma Watson, but I disliked how they changed her character.
Oh, yeah, no, Hundo P. We'll get in that in a second.
Right, okay.
Because I want to, going back to characters of the first one, I just think that they didn't have as much chemistry as they did in the new one. Like, I feel like the new one, they have it a lot of fun.
Like
this one, they were
Jo
all just,
and
Timothy Chalamet.
Meg,
Oh.
those two in the new one, like I said, I love Emma Watson. Those two had a good sister chemistry.
Yeah.
In the new one, you could really see the difference of the older sister and the second one. And it wasn't as good. Like, you can see Winona Ryder was more close to Beth.
Yeah.
But in the new one, it looks like she was closer with both of them.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, and I just feel like, for example, this scene where Amy tortures Joe's books. She puts him in the fire because she's jealous.
Yeah.
And in the 94 one,
I
you
would
just
have killed my sister if she'd done that.
and I just feel like you would have done, like, you can't just say, I'm going to kill you, I'm going to kill you. Okay, cool. Like, we're sisters again.
Yeah.
Like, you would you would be frustrated. You would be
and I
annoyed.
think they showed that a lot in the new one.
Yeah.
There was a tension. No matter what, there was always a tension
Yeah.
between them. Even when they were older, there was that tension. But I can see in the classic, like, family was such a different thing back then. Like, that was all you had. Whereas now you make your family with friends and you know, you can pick your family pretty much. But back then, that bond was it meant more.
But also, like, with the family inviting Laurie in and stuff, he didn't really seem like him and Amy.
Yeah.
They didn't really, like, you were like, what?
Yeah.
They get together?
When she went with him,
I was like, what?
yeah.
Yeah.
Because he was very unlikable when you saw him again. And, like, she was right. He was a drunk. But it does show the fact that he was willing to change for her.
Yeah.
I still don't think he was a likable person.
No. So, can I ask, what do you give this one?
Oh.
Do you have anything else to say on this one? I'm probably going to go back to talking
we
about
are probably going to go back to it. Yeah. I know you kind of put me on the spot there because I'm like, I've got more things to say, but it's kind of comparing, a lot of comparing. Like I said, I think they're both on par. it's a classic film that I don't think is ever going to change, especially because, you know, throughout history, women have just gotten more rights and, you know, we've become so much more independent, beautiful, creative creatures. And I think this is a timeless story for women.
Yes.
I don't think it's ever going to change.
And it's completely relevant even today.
Exactly.
Yeah.
100%. So I think as a story goes, I would have to give them both a 4.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because
I'm gonna
I
give
like
this
them
one,
both equally.
I'm going to give this one a 2.5
Wow.
for the
so
94.
low.
Yeah, I'm going to give it about a 50%.
Wow. Okay.
Just because it's just the characters are not as likable. Laurie's not as likable. It's a bit like
But there are characters in it that I
dark.
found more likable than I did the new one.
It's just, I don't know. I didn't connect to the characters as much as I did with the new one. Yeah, but what do you reckon it got on Rotten Tomatoes?
I know it was a bit of a hit, so I'm gonna guess 82.
It got 92%.
Wow. I didn't know if it would hit the 90s, but I knew it was a big hit. Yeah.
All right, so now we're going to move on to the
new one.
So this one is directed by Greta Gerwig,
Yep.
who did the 2017 Lady Bird.
Yep.
I love the fact that Saoirse and Timmy were in this together. They have amazing chemistry.
Yeah.
And the fact that they're going to be in a new movie together as well this year.
Oh yeah. What
It's a Wes Anderson film.
Oh my god, I love Wes Anderson films.
Yeah.
They're like one of my faves.
Yeah, so
Oh, I'm definitely seeing that. I will like it no matter what because I love his films.
movie that he's going to be in with her is The French Dispatch.
Okay.
That cast looks so good.
I'll have to have a look when I
It's
finish.
got Timothée Chalamet, Saoirse Ronan, Kate Winslet, William Dafoe,
Oh, wow.
Bill Murray, Tilda Swinton, Christopher Waltz.
Oh, I gotta see this.
I can never pronounce his name. Benicio del Toro.
Oh, yeah.
Owen Wilson,
A lot
Adrian
of the
Brody.
same cast that is always in his films.
Yeah,
Yeah. Oh, I'm very excited.
I
for
know,
that now.
I know.
I
So
love Wes Anderson films.
I love, as soon as I saw it, I loved how colourful this was.
Yeah, it was a lot brighter. You
And-
can see the brightness.
And so Greta was saying that each girl has her own colour theme.
Yeah, and then the mum
Yeah.
had like her outfit incorporated a bit of each of their colours.
But to me, the characters were so much more likeable.
Yes.
Laurie's dad was a lot more likeable as well, and I thought he
Yeah.
wanted to look after that family
So
as much.
heartbreaking when he was crying on the stairs. That was so sad.
Let's all just pause
Take
for
a
a
breath.
moment. I just think they were much more likable, and I like that the story was a little bit different as well.
Yeah. Yeah. I do like that. I also feel like they did well in the sense of keeping it true to the story, but they also adapted it
Put their own
to
twist on
modern
it. Yeah.
times. So, like we were saying, it's became relatable. It's a story that's still there. Things that I didn't like, and there are things that I like. So one thing that we mentioned in the original, when they changed the characters, they didn't do it right for Amy. Whereas this one, they kept the same actress and she played Amy, but she was just a bit too old as a child. I know she really, really tried, especially with the high-pitched voice and being a bit whiny as she was in the school with her friends. And like she did really well to try for that, but it just didn't fit. I don't think they were going to be able to pull it off either way. But it beats changing characters like they did.
I completely agree with you, and especially with Emma Watson's character.
Oh my god, I got so much to say on that.
Okay, in the trailer, when she's like, and Miss Amy March, I was like, oh my god, your American accent is terrible.
But also,
It was a bit-
that doesn't bother me as much.
It bothered me a little
It's
bit.
always bothered you. It bothered you
Yeah.
from the get-go. You told
Yeah.
me about it as soon as we watched the trailer.
But also because she's got such a young face,
Yeah.
she wasn't believable as a mother. I don't know, I just kept...
Yeah.
I didn't think about her in the Harry Potter franchise or anything like that. But
She does have that young face.
Yeah, and I just thought, you look like you're 12 years old with a 12-year-old,
Yeah.
you know?
Do you know what bothered me the most with this character, though? So in the original, she reminded me a lot... Okay, so I told you about this, how this has a lot of similarities to one of my all-time favorite romance movies, a guilty pleasure that not many people know.
Yeah.
I binge. I love Pride and Prejudice.
I was shooketh to find because in the next episode, I wasn't expecting you to, because we're doing Call Me by Your Name.
Yeah, she
and-
couldn't wait. I really didn't want to tell her about my opinion. I wanted to wait until we recorded.
And I thought you were going to like poo-poo that.
No.
But anyway, that's all I wanted to say.
That's
is
all
that
we're gonna say.
I thought you were going to
But
poo-poo
back
that.
to this, I love Pride and Prejudice. There are a lot of similarities between the Bennets and the Marches. You know, in the classic 1994, Meg is meant to be this beauty that just, you know, she's just there, she's just beautiful, she's just a really nice, content girl. That has a moment of, you know, when she's at the debutante ball, she has that moment of, oh, do I really want to marry into this? But she chose to be with the educator next door. Whereas in this one, they made her out like such an ungrateful cow, you know? And I'm like, no.
Where she spent all that money on the
silk and
Yeah.
how she, like, he came home late and she's like, well, I want these nice things. I always wanted to be dressed and draped beautifully. And I'm like, what? That is not the reason you married that guy.
Yeah, you married for love.
You married for love. I think what made me a bit annoyed about it is in an interview I read before I went and saw it, is she said she was making it a very feminist march because she makes her own choices. And I'm like, no, it just makes you look like an entitled, stuck-up cow.
Yeah.
Like, it makes you seem like you're not appreciative of the life you chose. Whereas in the classic, she had that one moment at the debutante ball and realized that's not for me. I don't want that. And she chose the life that she had. And she never looked back. But in this, they just made her look like she had regrets of marrying the guy. And I think that really ruined that character.
One thing that I did like in the new one, I mean, part of the things more than the old one, was the dance scene between Timothy and Saoirse.
that was so much better.
that was beautiful, and that felt important.
Yes.
Versus that when they were just like
In the room.
We're in the room, we're chatting,
Yeah.
cool, let's dance, but not really. Like, I feel like when in the new one, when Laurie was just to Joe like, I love you,
I actually think what she said to Laurie in the new one was much better.
Yeah.
Like, she summed it up so perfectly in one sentence. I can't love you the way you want me to.
Yeah.
It's like, no matter how much you plead with someone, you can't change how they're going to love you.
No, that's right.
They'll love you as a brother or a friend, but you can never make them love you in the way that you want. And it was just perfect the way she said it.
And also it's great because I don't know if you've seen Lady Bird, but
I haven't.
in Lady Bird, they get together and he
Oh,
just...
is he in that?
Yes.
Oh. I didn't know he
Oh
was
my
in
God.
it. I knew she was.
Oh my God. No, it's a wonderful movie. It is just, yeah. He breaks her heart. And
now she gets to break his.
she gets to break his. So everybody's like, yes, you finally get your comeuppance.
Yeah.
You know, you get to break his heart.
He was a much likable character in this one. They chose well.
And
I really,
even
really liked him. in
the
this.
chemistry between him and Amy was
Yeah.
a lot like when
I could believe that he was actually changing for her and not,
Yeah.
I need to settle with someone.
Yeah.
I'm going to stop drinking, so you'll marry me.
But also the fact that when she's with Aunt March and that she's just like, oh my God, there's Laurie, Laurie. You're just like, he's part of her
And
family.
you can really see that she did truly love him from when she was a kid.
Yeah.
Whereas you never saw that really with like Kirsten Dunst as a little girl.
I was just like, all I remember is that he mentioned her, I'll kiss you before you die.
Yeah.
That's a bit creepy. I'm
Yeah,
sorry. You look
it is.
like you look a lot older than what he probably is.
Yes. Yeah.
In the old one?
That was a point I didn't like of the original. He was not a good fit. So something I liked in this one was I really liked the actor choice for the professor, Frederick.
Yes.
Or Friedrich, or however you want to pronounce it. They chose really, really well a better age difference between them. I am just very disappointed with how they did his story. They didn't build it up. They didn't let you grow to love him as much as you did the classic.
And do you know, like, I loved the bit in the new one where Laurie is with John, the tutor, and then he's like, there's a lady out there, and he's like, what are you talking about, you loser? And then he gets the chair over and he's like, come look, there's a lady out there.
Yeah.
And then like,
Oh, and she's crying.
yeah, because she hurt her hands, and that was even
That
these...
should have been I think they should have kept that the same. That Joe
That-
finds her.
yeah.
Because it builds that, and it's another connection between them. You know, like, you know how you were saying, how can you just forgive her? But by adding that, you can see, yes, I may hate you, you're my sister, but there are times when I'll be there for you.
Well, that's the same as with the ice. To me, the ice bit, like I was just in the 94 version where they're just skating away, and I didn't really, she was like, wait for me, but I didn't really feel like she wanted to go with them. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like I did when she was like, wait for me, and the others were going away. Whereas in the new one, when she's like, wait for me, please,
Yeah,
please.
She said
like,
it well.
Yeah.
Like, you could hear it in her voice. But you can see why she was there in the first one, because it was the only way she was going to be able to get there and reconnect with her after what she did.
Yeah. Oh,
Although to do something like that, you must really be incredibly spiteful. Like, there's been times where I thought I could smash everything of yours, but I never would.
not of
you
mine,
know?
hopefully.
No, not of yours. But you know what I mean?
I
Like,
know,
you know,
I
you
get
can
it.
go through those fits of rage, but you never would do something like
No.
that.
And that was heartbreaking. And even
So deliberate too, and there was no flash, like, and I liked that in the new one she added, I wanted to hurt you, and I'm like, wow, like, that to me, you'd have been cut. Like,
Yeah.
you were so deliberate, and you vocally told me you deliberately wanted to hurt me.
Yeah.
And
also, I was reading, like, with a interview with Greta, the fact that when all the girls were talking at once, it felt like you were there, and that I think it's Christmas, and that they're all just talking over each other. And I
Yeah.
thought that was awesome, because that's like how it would be with a house full of people that you are talking and
that
talking
you actually get along with.
over the top of each other. In the old one, I didn't feel like that they were as close as they were in the new one.
Yeah, like, I think once you see the connection that the new ones had, you can see where it was lacking in the
And
original.
I love the fact that girls now who haven't grown up with this are going to
Can now grow up with it.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
I agree.
And even like Beth's death was harder on me than
and on the beach. Oh.
yes, like even that, and it was just so beautiful. And like Beth's death got me harder than, like, I watched it with one of my mates, and then I looked over, she's crying her eyes out, and I'm just like rubbing her arm, just going, it'll be okay, it'll be okay. And she's like, she was just like, I'm not crying. I'm like, neither am I.
Beth's character's a really important character, and I think that, you know, because Beth is the one that believes in her, like, she's her biggest fan, and they really portrayed that well in both. I think it came across both.
But also in the old one, I felt like Beth's piano wasn't as important as it was,
in this one.
Yes.
Yep, I agree.
And that
do
when
agree.
she got given that piano,
Yeah.
you were
And
just
she'd
like,
go over
"Oh."
there and play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why I feel like the other family, Laurie and his dad was
It was more
huge.
involved.
And when the dad came home, so Father March, who I thought was played brilliantly by Bob Odenkirk. I love Bob Odenkirk so much. I just feel like when he came home, it, like, when you see the original dad come home, all the kids are around him, and you're like, welcome home, but you never see him again.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, no, you see him when he marries Meg.
Yeah, but you
the-
don't really, like, he doesn't have anything else to say. He doesn't really, whereas in this one, I feel like Bob Odenkirk, when he's finally home, he has a like pivotal point in the story, and that he is a lot more involved. Like, you see him at Christmas and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
I mean, but I didn't notice it as much, to be honest. And I don't think I'd notice it as a big pivotal point in the story.
No, see, I thought
I
of
still
that.
think the main pivotal point was the mum in this, which was good. It was good to see her say, you know what, it gets hard. We all have those impulse moments, but you just got to learn to live with it and control it. And, you know, and it was good to see her like that, because everyone has that. Even nowadays, we all have those times where we just want to snap and be uncontrollable, but we can't, you know. You just got to learn to be more patient. And yeah.
Yeah, even when Meg's wedding, that was just so beautiful, when they all had the flowers in their hair, and like, it just felt beautiful. And
Yeah.
when Amy was in France and she was
Yeah.
doing her, like,
Painting.
the costumes were
Yeah.
phenomenal.
Yeah.
Whereas in the original, they just felt flat.
Yeah, but like, you got to think too, they weren't the richest family.
No.
And the only reason some of the costumes in the original that looked really, really good were from the wealthier families. Like when Meg goes to the debutante ball and gets the other dress, it looks beautiful because she was wearing someone like, so they really showed it wasn't the really poverty sort of situation, but they really showed that they were poor.
No, but even the beautiful dresses in the old one, they weren't that.
But that was the style. I think it's the way they designed it.
Whoever did the costume for this one,
they were beautiful.
Amazing. And like with the dress that she got, that Meg wore it, the debutante was beautiful.
Yeah.
The costume was phenomenal.
I agree.
The costume was absolutely phenomenal in this. And yeah, I just think absolutely just a perfect cast.
Yeah, I don't think they could have done any better with that.
No.
I think it all fit well. The only thing, with the cast that I would say was obviously Amy didn't quite come across as a young girl, but we needed her obviously to be the same character, which worked better than the older one.
She was phenomenal.
You can tell she really did a lot with her voice and the tones to really differentiate. Like you were saying, Wait for Me, you could really hear it in her voice. When she was a kid in the classroom, you can really hear that naggy,
immature voice.
Yeah, she did very well with her voice to portray it as a younger girl. So I think she did really good.
Yeah, I wouldn't have put Emma Watson as Meg. Yeah. I would have that's the only downfall. I don't know, she just fell a bit flat for me.
I think the way they changed her character and her story really tainted.
It made it a bit poo-poo.
Yeah, like Meg was there for love, and I was very annoyed when I saw that scene when she was yelling at him at night, and I'm like, are you kidding me? He's working so hard for you, and you're going to throw it back in his face like that? Oh, that just so annoyed me.
And one other thing is the chemistry between Amy and Laurie. Like I probably mentioned it, but
it was more believable.
It was way more believable. And I love the fact that the ending, you get to choose how you want to believe it.
Yeah, but I still think, I in my own opinion, people could think differently, but I like the intimate ending between Winona Ryder and Gabriel Byrne. Obviously, I didn't like him as the choice, but I really like the chemistry between them two as characters, and I just think that fell flat for me in the new one.
Aunt March, oh my goodness, absolutely so perfect. Good. She was phenomenal.
Yeah.
I was reading in an article that they were saying, like, not from the movie, but fans and things, that they were going on and that they were saying how Jo is gay and that they're actually letting her queerness come through.
Yeah. That they were they were meant to be like subtle hints in the stories.
And I was like, that's great. And I just thought, there you go. That's why she didn't, fall after Theodore. That's why she didn't. Oh, sorry, Frederick. Sorry, Laurie is Theodore. Lol. But yeah, I really liked it a lot.
Yeah.
And especially Hello, I wouldn't have gone and seen it. Going to see it another third time if I hated it.
Yeah. So what do you rate this one?
4.5.
Oh, good. Well, I'm still at the 4. I still think they're both the 4 because there were parts that I liked of each.
And what do you think it got on Rotten Tomatoes?
Oh, 97?
Drum roll, please. It got... I was like, oh, I didn't look at it, but I did. It got 97%.
Oh, my God, I got it right. Oh, my God. That's the first time I've ever guessed it.
Oh, my God.
High five.
It took me a second. I'm like, why are you going about what? Oh, my God.
I've never guessed it. I've gotten within like a percentage, I think.
So do you agree with us? Let us know.
Yeah, let us know what you think of both. Comment, send us an email. We'd love to hear from you guys. But we should move on to Nerdazon's Nerdy Notables.
All right, so with this, I want to talk about the new upcoming movies for 2020.
Yes. So keen. All right, do you want to go first?
Okay, so, oh my God, so keen for Wonder Woman.
Yeah, that actually looks really good. I was a bit unsure at first, but I'm actually really, really keen, especially the soundtrack.
Is the soundtrack out already?
Parts of it. So I love New Order, and they managed to do a Blue Monday version, but they managed to do it where it really sounded like Wonder Woman. Like, when she's ready to charge and go into battle, and you know how good the soundtrack was in the first one? They managed to get that vibe in Blue Monday. And it sounded so good, and I'm like, yeah, I don't normally like remakes, but this is...
My mouth is currently still open.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm totally looking at that on Spotify.
Yeah, have a listen to it. It sounds really good. I think it'll be good. I hope.
I'm also looking forward to The French Dispatch.
Yeah.
Death
I'm
on the
looking
Nile.
forward to that now. Oh, yes, and definitely.
Death on the Nile.
That is our December pick for the
I
year.
love that we're starting the year with a Timothy Chalamet
Yes.
movie, and we're ending with an Armie Hammer movie.
Oh, God, you planned it.
I did plan it.
Far out. I'm getting more sway next year. I'm so totally picking more movies.
Well, we
that you
chose
won't
half and
want.
half.
Well, I'm going to go more horror movies.
Boo.
Maybe I'll
Actually,
pick 6 horror movies.
oh, maybe I won't be here for half of them. Wink, wink.
Wow. I listen to the books you want me to listen to and watch the movies you want me to. You can watch the ones I want you to.
Fine.
I already picked some anyway. So one thing I did want to mention, I was going to post, I will post closer to the date, but one of my picks, I think it's April, I chose to do Psycho.
Yes.
Now, Randwick Ritz are actually playing the Alfred Hitchcock original. So if you wanted the chance to see it on the big screen, which I really, really do, I was going to take you my movie shout because I think it would be really good to see that on a classic screen. So just out there for anyone who has already skimmed through what we're doing for the year, that is a good one. If you're in the Sydney region of Australia, obviously, they are showing the Alfred
Also,
Hitchcock films.
speaking of that, they're doing from Australia Day through to middle of February at the New South Wales Art Gallery. They're doing the Studio Ghibli movies.
Yes, oh my God, I love that.
So I'm going to go see one of them. I know that My Neighbor Totoro sold out, and so
you can just watch that at my house, dude.
Yeah,
I
I know.
have them.
And so did what's the other really
Spirited Away.
Spirited Away sold out.
Or Howl's Moving Castle. They're like the main ones.
Yeah,
everyone
but
sees.
hashtag never seen
I know.
them. So I'll post the link. I'm going to go see Kiki's Delivery Service.
Oh, I love that one.
Yeah, so I'm going to...
cute.
Oh, they've all sold out, actually. So, wow.
Movie nights at mine.
Yeah, so if you were lucky enough to get a ticket,
If not, then
if not-
disregard everything we've just recommended.
yeah, whoops.
So one thing I'm actually really keen for, well, I'm not keen for because I think it already looks terrible just by the trailer, but it is one
Birds
of
of
my
Prey?
No.
Oh.
I'm
that
that
looks-
an on that, actually.
Yeah.
I don't think it'll be as bad as Suicide Squad.
Oh, everybody
Like-
knows our thoughts on that one.
But when I watched the trailer, they released, I think, a week ago, an extended version of it. And I feel like...
Wait, are you
it's-
still talking about Birds of Prey?
Birds of Prey.
Okay.
I feel like it's not going to be as bad as Suicide Squad. So I'm going to watch it just to suss it out and then I'll let you guys know. But I think it's my November pick, Secret Garden. So that was a very, very much watched movie that I watched, VHS I should say, that I watched as a kid, and I loved that movie. And the trailer of the new one just looks terrible.
I don't even, because there's a bit of an age gap between us, so I don't even think that I've even heard of the Secret Garden or anything.
I don't think it's that big an age gap. I'm pretty sure it was early 90s as well when it came out. My parents just, I don't know if anyone else's parents did this, but they had a habit of buying a lot of the like BBC or like Reader's Digest, because it was, remember the thing with the books, and they'd get like video VHS from that, and I got a pack of that and A Little Princess, which I think they remade that as well. But I really love The Secret Garden, and it just, the trailer looks terrible, but we'll get into that when we do that in
when we
November.
eventually
I
get to
think
see
that
it.
comes out in like April.
I'm also really looking forward to the new James Bond. I'm a huge James Bond
I
fan.
don't like Daniel Craig.
And I love the fact that this one is actually directed by Phoebe Waller-Bridge, who's Fleabag.
Oh, cool. I still have not finished.
Have you even met Hot Priest yet?
No.
Oh my God, to anybody who's out there, if you haven't already, Fleabag is one of the best shows out there.
I am such a nana. I literally go home and I love watching British crime shows. And I'm in the process of watching All the Father Brown.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah. I know I say I'm going to watch all these things, but then, you know, when you fall in that routine, it's like, okay, let's put on the next crime show.
Oh, that's like me and reading at the moment. I've just stopped watching TV and I'm just reading. Because I'm really excited, because one of my favourite series, the Fever series, the last book is coming out in July.
Oh, cool.
So
You're trying to read them.
I think there's 8 books, but then there's a spin-off of the Kelter series. Hello, it's all about hot Scots. So Like,
course.
of course. But yeah, I'm just so excited for so many movies this year. I can't wait for
Brooklyn Nine-Nine's going to start again soon, so I'm really excited for that.
Black Widow. I'm really excited for Mulan. New Mutants.
A bit more of Doctor Who.
Oh my God. Okay, can we please talk about... Oh my God, how could we not have talked about Doctor Who?
I know. Well, I mean, I was waiting for you to mention
Oh
it.
my God.
Okay, I'll just mention
how
it.
did we not talk about Doctor Who?
Yes.
Okay, so what are your
really
thoughts?
quickly, when I first watched the New Year's one, I thought, the story's a bit off. So, but when you watch the next one, it makes more sense. And it saves the story a bit, but I still think the writing is a bit off. You know, as you know, when it comes to the Doctors, you know, one season's really great and the next one's really terrible. The actors are all great, they're the same, but it's the stories that end up failing them. And I think this season's going to be a bit like that.
I heard that this is going to be her last season as well.
They said that, but I think that was clickbait. When I clicked into it, like a lot of people were saying it's clickbait because she said she will do it as long as they permit her to do it.
Okay.
So if it is her last season, it means they're booting her out.
Yeah. Well, the first one, I was so excited. I'm like, we had to wait 2 years for it. And I was just expecting a lot more from it. And then...
But when you watch the second episode, it made more sense, right?
Yes. But I just feel like, why the Master? When you found out Missy was the Master, it was like, whoa,
yeah,
like blew my mind.
And
this
one
like,
I didn't get that as much.
And it's like,
I loved Missy.
They call me O because when they find out.
But you know what? I love that. Like when he said, "That's why it's my name," and I'm like, yeah, I get it now. That's cool.
And then
I really liked him as the Master. It was different. He had like a weird...
Yeah, I liked
like
him.
You could see the obsession come out.
Yeah, and the
like
craziness as well.
Yeah, like you know that they're friends and they're always going to be connected, them two, but you could really see the obsession he had with the Doctor.
Yeah.
In like his portrayal of it.
I just feel like 3 companions is too many. I know that they've done that with Rory and Amy and River, but that kind of worked because Amy and Rory were a package.
Yes.
And that Rory wasn't always in it. And I just feel like now it feels to me that anybody's allowed in the TARDIS.
I don't think that.
And I don't know, I just feel like it's lost its spark. And I just feel like she's amazing as the Doctor, but I just think the writing was...
It's the story. I think if they had hit the ground running with a good New Year's one, it would have got everyone pumped for this season.
Yeah.
Because her first season was such a hit. Every episode, everyone was talking about it.
Yeah.
The internet went nuts after a new episode was aired last year. And then, I just don't think they hit the ground running well. But I don't think it's anything to do with the actors. I just think their stories aren't strong.
No.
But I wasn't expecting it to be the Master.
No.
But I didn't have the shock like I had with Missy.
But also because we literally just left
I think
the
it contradicts.
two masters killing each other.
I think it contradicts what happened to Missy.
Yeah.
Like
and
he
I'm
let
just
her
like,
go and...
But they killed each other. They shot
they
it.
did.
They did.
Sorry.
And that's why I was like, hold up. They
Yeah.
can't. I know that time in this is wibbly wobbly, timey-wimey, right?
Yeah.
But you can't bring in the Master after literally 2 seasons ago, the Masters killed each other.
Yep.
This would have been a lot stronger if it was
They should have brought him in at the end of the season.
at the end of the season.
Not at the start of the season. Like, you
Yes.
can't just bring him in after one series. Like, you didn't even really bring in the classic villains in her series. Why bring the Master in straight away? They shouldn't have brought him in straight away.
Yeah.
But I still think he had an interesting portrayal of the Master.
And then it annoyed me so much when they went to Australia and then they had the Australian actors, but they put on their Ocker accent.
I know. When I
And I was
listened
just
to
like-
that, we both, me and my partner, looked at each other and were like, really?
And the fact that, hello, we're not all outback.
Yeah.
We've got like one of the biggest
Cities.
Don't just make us
Look like that.
look like that. Mm-hmm. We don't ride kangaroos to school.
Yes.
So, and that's what really annoyed me as well. I just feel like I got let down after waiting almost 2 years.
I think
for
we're going to
this.
have to really wait and see what the rest of the season brings.
Yeah.
If it doesn't pick up, then we can safely say it's not a good series.
Yeah, and then hopefully they might make it better next year, or
Yeah.
maybe it might even get better this year because
might.
next episode
I
they
actually
meet the
thought
Judoon.
the second episode saved the New Year's one a bit. like by
Yeah.
the second half. But it took 1.5 episodes
To get good.
in.
Yes.
Exactly.
And that's what annoyed me.
like the
and that-
ending was really good. It was like, yeah, this is more Doctor Who, but why did it take 1.5 episodes to get to it?
Yeah, and I don't know if I like the companions. I'm not connected to them as much. I feel like this season is more to bring in a younger audience. And I just feel like it's letting the OG fans down.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel that I need to wait and see more before judging.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, I didn't really like Capaldi when he first came out.
I loved him.
And then he is one of my
loved him
favourites
as soon
now.
as he hit the screen,
Yeah.
and he became my favorite.
Really?
Yeah. So I
Better
loved
than Tennant.
Eccleston because I started with Eccleston.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, when I went back and watched it in order, like a lot of people I know who spoke and they
Never
love
skip
Matt
9.
Smith or Tennant, they start with them. But I started with Eccleston, and that was how I got introduced into Doctor Who. So I didn't quite understand why he changed it first, and then I'm like, oh, okay, I'm with it now.
See, Sylvester McCoy is my doctor. He will always
Yeah.
be my doctor because I grew up with him.
Yeah.
And then
They always had Tom Baker on ABC when I'd come home, but I never knew really what it was, and so I always skipped it.
So Sylvester McCoy, definitely. And then McGann, I watched the movie and it doesn't hold up. It doesn't hold up. It's terrible. But anyway, all right.
We need to wrap up. This
Yes.
is a very long episode.
It
this
was
time. We're very excited for this year.
yes.
Our next month is Steph's pick again.
Woo woo.
And do you want to tell them what it is?
And we're finally doing Call Me by Your Name.
So the book comparison to
the book comparison to the 2017
Yes.
movie.
So I hope everyone saw the calendar we created. We created this because there are a few books this year, and if you're like me, I'm not a fast reader or a reader in general like Steph, so I listen to a lot of my stuff just so I can make sure I read them in time for the comparison. So make sure you read it or listen to it. It is on Audible, and it's read by Armie Hammer.
And there's also a YouTube of the book read by Armie Hammer as well.
There you go. Even better. It's free. So, and then obviously watch the movie, and
Yes.
then we will be back at the end of February.
Yes, so if you like us, please rate us and review us on iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and wherever you get your podcasts.
Yeah. Until then, we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.